jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Saying that you're the best, you gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports,
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game, A-Side official. No negotiations needed, period. We back with another one. For those of you that's jumpstarting your week, it's Monday, January 20th. The reason why I notated that so early is that we're pretty much 4/5 the way through January, the first month of 2025, and it gets very interesting after the month of January. It gets very interesting. We have a fight that's popping off with Steven Nelson that's going in there against Pacheco, and that's a tough fight, man, for both. It's an extremely tough fight. I'm really hoping and pulling for Steven Nelson to get his opportunity. This is a coming out fight, not so much to who he is. You know, he's always been there to fight, but he had his hiatuses. So therefore, I look at it like, when I say coming out, this is a name for him to really set himself in position for the big fight. So, you know, salute to the vet. Of course, I'm going to be biased. You know what I'm saying? He served just like I did. But I want him to be able to, you know, get that notoriety. We seen Jamel Herring, another comrade of mine. He ended up making world championship status and, you know, advancing his career to new heights. All right. So let's get down to the core of what the live stream is about to be about this morning. I came on a little early, supposed to be on at 10. I said, let me go ahead and get this out the way so I can move and groove as the day go by. Shout out to Cooking with Sir C, the first in the building. What's good, man? I see you on deck. Salute to you. Appreciate you pulling up. So as I said previously, and I said again, we at the point right now where we have some fights coming up. All right. And those fights consist of names that, you know, we want to be positive. Looking back in hindsight, we want to be positive. But we do have a recreation when it comes to this YouTube Central of communicating and talking about boxing, right? We always have these conversations, man, these debates. Boxing topics would never be peaceful. Never be peaceful. And most of what we used to just converse about was if this fight was going to happen. You know, if that fight going to happen. If you think it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Who's going to pay for it? What promotion they sign with? Is there any way if they sign a different promotions, we'll be able to see the fight? That's what we've seen over and over and over again. The connection that you had, that boxing fans have with boxing fans have with the sport, is that it's a dysfunctional relationship. I always said that. This sport is extremely dysfunctional, man. It's a lot of cats believe that just because they come over here and go live all the time, every day, they're keeping their glass all the way full when it comes to boxing knowledge. And that's just not the case, because a lot of these dudes are unwilling to be taught. You do have individuals, or you should have individuals in your chat that can teach you something. if you covering this sport and you say I know everything there is to know about the sport, you're lying. So the reason why I brought up learning and being able to be taught, being able to be educated by the communal of people that listen to you is that if you're unwilling to accept someone providing you, that nutrition that you need to keep on continuing to feed that brain and collect your freaking boxing knowledge, then you're always going to be at a point where you refuse to look at certain situations as neutral as it possibly get. We want to use the fair word. You want to be fair about it. And the reason why boxing have a lot of arguments all the time is that people are unwilling to put their bias aside and speak on a topic or a fighter in a fair type of way. They're unwilling to do it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's about race, whether it's about resume, whether it's about them not looking a certain way to you. We have a lot of critics who scrutinize boxers' records, based off biasness. We have a lot of critics who will freaking this social media and say some shit like a fighter is a bomb and trash, but can't get in there and go a full 60 seconds in a sparring match with any of these fighters. Their ease of contentment just to sit behind the screen is crazy. Now we turned the corner pretty much, and we have a heavy 2025 calendar hanging off the wall. I mean, we got some fights that we were saying, damn, this is what we've been waiting on. Like you heard WCS talk about how from 21 to 22, we was waiting on Crawford Spence. We got in 22, the shit fell apart. From 22 to 23, we waiting on Crawford Spence. That was the two big names. 23 to 24, we seen Crawford Spence, and we was waiting on Crawford Spence again on the rematch. That was the big fight, right? 24 was one of those years where you call it the twiddle the thumbs year. You know what I'm saying? To sit back in the chair and look at the ceiling type of year. That's what 2024. Open and close your door for fun type of year. It wasn't a lot going on that we can depend on that made sense when it came to boxing. 2024 was slow, groggled. You know what I'm saying? A very boring ass boxing year. And it just didn't spark up like it should. A lot of talk started to happen at the end around October, November. We knew, Turkey Al-Sheikh was on his way because he had did a fight for Crawford in August. So we knew what was popping. But what we've seen is there was so much rejection to the fact that Crawford fighting Canelo could be made. You just had people out here refuting it. Because internal to what their belief was, they feel like, well, I don't like a certain fight. I'm just going to talk shit about it. I'm just going to talk shit. Continue to demean, discard, devalue, water it down, piss on it whenever I feel like it. And that's not really boxing at the end of the day. Boxing already have enough criticism. But it's amazing how people will say that you're a casual boxing fan when you tell them that you believe it's possible for this fight to potentially happen. And this will lead me to my segment of my thumbnail. You see the one and only Mikey Garcia, right? Well, I said, who would I be if I didn't do a live stream on Mikey Garcia? Because these boxers that are no longer in the sport, their body is not as active as you used to be. And I'm not making any medical assumptions. Of course, unqualified to do that. I don't want to make any medical disabilities. I don't want to prognose Mikey Garcia for the dumb shit he up here saying. But I hear a lot of people, including boxers, who act like they didn't get in the sport to do something that was above average. So Steen say Garcia just hating, big bro. We know Bud is doing what he wished to do, could have done, but wasn't able to. Man, talk that, man. Come on, address that. Address that. So recently, Mikey Garcia had the audacity to return to the mic and talk about something that really didn't add up to me. So, of course, WCS has to strip it down a little bit and peel back some evidence and kind of propose some questions to Mikey Garcia as to why he's saying what he's saying. Let's go to Mikey Garcia's resume right quick. Just briefly give you a description. Mikey Garcia, 40 victories, 2 defeats, 30 of those victories coming by way of knockout. Mikey Garcia entered his debut was July 2006. Okay? July 2006. Mikey Garcia, at one point in time, started his climb. And, as many, he had some okay, mediocre opposition early on in his career. And then he started tightening up a little bit. One of his notable divisions that he started off was 126. Now I know if you see where I'm going with this, 126 now. Let's talk about 126. Mikey Garcia started off at 126 was featherweight. He is currently a 4-division champion. Okay? Do you understand where I'm at with it? Mikey Garcia is a 4-division champion. Once again, I repeat, Mikey Garcia is a 4-division champion. Now, let's talk about professional boxer who competed from 2006 to 221. Held multiple world championships, 4 weight classes, y'all. Featherweight, light welterweight. Challenged once for the IBF welterweight title. He went featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight, light welterweight, and welterweight. The one I want to address with you, though, is the one that's considered to be 147 pounds. Not the 140 pounds when he took Sergey Lipinets's belt. You know what I'm saying? To earn his 4th division. No. We want to talk about welterweight because that's where it's the most important when it comes to Mikey Garcia's words. Mikey Garcia recently, had something to say. And I couldn't quite grasp if it's a little CTE in there. Did he trip and fall before he was in front of the camera? Was he on that liquid? You know what I'm saying? But listen, this is what reading's for, right? Mikey Garcia is blending in with a lot of boxing fans and trying to say that Crawford is just strictly looking for a payday, y'all. When has boxing ever become a free sport? Most of the arguments that you hear on here is what? People arguing about how much fighters should make and not make. Am I right or wrong? That's what the debate's about. What fighters should make and not make. Who's made this? Who's made that? Some fighters automatically get the cosign from people who saying, oh man, they don't fought so-and-so, they rate this. They rate this per fight. But somehow Crawford still doesn't get that automatic confirmation when it comes to his fights. Because a lot of people used to say he was bad for business and moving funny. But yet he was getting a very high guarantee contractually. So that was smart on his part. But there was a lot of people out here that was stuck with the same routine, really didn't know about the business. But they were stuck to the same routine of talking about pay-per-view numbers, the gate. And they was trying to use that type of evidence to prove a formula that coincides with how good the fighter actually is. So if they believe they had the numbers of what somebody did on pay-per-view, the gate, like they had the contract there, they had all the numbers from the arena, from the venue and all that, they'll come up here and put out these numbers to the public as if they're absolutely straight from the promotion. I'm talking about after a week and a half passed by, whatever, they have collected, gathered all the numbers, scrubbed it from top to bottom, and said this is what it is. That's what you heard on here. And people was kind of gauging a fighter's hierarchy or where they should be in the ranking or the chain of command in their division based off whatever numbers they can come up with. Crawford never made that conversation. You know what I'm saying? He never really made that conversation because people were saying he didn't sell. He didn't put butts in the seats because he wasn't too engaged or a fighter who people wanted to talk to in the media. He just didn't find that as important early on in his career. But he had to open up a little bit. So let's get to what Mikey Garcia, somehow, some way, might still be drunk a little bit days, or a little bit of that CTE residual side effects may be popping in. But Boxing News 24 has an article say Mikey Garcia, Crawford versus Canelo is a big fight for money, not legacy. Right there, just like Bud gonna stop Canelo in the building, said he's a clown. That's clownish type behavior coming from Mikey Garcia of all people. Purposely. You are wearing the outfit for fun. You want to do it for attention. I guess nobody's been mentioning Mikey Garcia's name for a minute, so he wanted to come over here in a fight of this magnitude, potentially going down in September 2025. He wanted to spark it up a little bit. And you know, controversy always does that to people. Controversy is like poison ivy sometimes. You know, it stays around you enough, you're going to get a rash. It says former multi-division world champion Mikey Garcia say he's not a fan of Terrence Crawford, moving up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo Alvarez for 3 super middleweight belts. Mikey feel that it's too much for Crawford, 41 victories, 0 defeats, and 31 knockouts, to fight the heavier and more powerful Canelo Alvarez after having trouble in his recent move to 154 against Israel Madrimov last August. He thinks Crawford should stay at 154 and look to unify against the other champions. So, let me post up right here. How would Mikey Garcia, and who did you speak to that gave you the confidence to say what you're saying? Why and what motive do you have all of a sudden? I don't even want to call it hating, but you seem to be disingenuous, man. The reason why WCS is mentioning this about Mike Garcia because he did a similar feat, right? This is a featherweight. You know how they always talking about Gamboa being all the way down there, right? Right? But Mikey Garcia, when he fought Spence, was a featherweight when he joined. I mean, we're talking about way back when. Mikey said he believes that he probably won't do that because there's no money fighting the other belt holders at junior middleweight compared to what he can get fighting Canelo. So, correct me if I'm wrong, dear listeners. Wasn't Terrence Crawford trying to fight Sebastian Fundora, Mikey? Did you forget? I mean, am I tripping? Was he not trying to get the Fundora fight? Do you need some smelling salt? Is it just me? Was Crawford not fight? You of all people, I don't know how close you stay to the sport, Mikey, but there was this arrangement going on for Errol Spence and Fundora to fight. And it was so important that it came to a point where Terrence Crawford made an agreement. Whatever the conversation was internally, it was to satisfy Terrence Crawford to make an agreement so that Spence and Fundora could fight. But let's not get it twisted. He wanted that fight with Fundora. So for Mikey to come in here and act like he abandoned mission for a payday, he tried to get the Fundora fight. But that's neither here nor there because these individuals have selective stupidity. They select on how stupid they choose to be, how much effort they're going to put in. Am I going to give it 50% today? Am I going to get 30%? Oh, I might go over the top and be extra stupid and be 70% and talk to the people like I don't know anything about boxing. Mikey says Canelo Crawford bout is a big fight because of the money it would bring in, but not a great one due to size mismatch. Mikey doubts Crawford. Crawford didn't show much power against Madrimov and was uncomfortable eating right hands from him. I really wish I can play the fight between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. so we can see how many times you was getting hit through the guard, around the guard, Mikey. And quote, Canelo is fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154. And he had some trouble in that fight, said Mikey Garcia to Fight Hub TV, expressing disapproval of Terrence Crawford fighting unified 3-belt super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Now, what do you plan on going? To 164, 65, or 66? Canelo is not going to come down to 160. He'll come down to 166 if he accepts. I think Canelo wins the fight just based on power and size. Skill-wise, I think Crawford is a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor. That's why I'm not a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish. So Mikey, a 4-weight world champion, future Hall of Famer, he's not a fan of the fight because there's a size difference. And due to the size difference, regardless of the accolades, y'all, regardless of all the medals, regardless of how heavy his record jacket is as a professional fighter, Mikey Garcia believes that this is not a legacy fight. This is just a fight for money. I'm not a fan of the fight, says Mikey, because size is a factor. Now I'm saying to myself, this is a boxer, bro. Not just any boxer. This is Mikey Garcia, 4th division champion. Have you not watched any of the heavyweight fights? If we talking about numbers don't lie, heavyweights weigh in all the time, but y'all in the lighter division just say, oh, that's heavyweight though. No, numbers don't lie. We just seen Usyk beat Fury for the second time, and you want to talk about weight. They always exclude heavyweight because they say they don't have to cut weight. Numbers are numbers. The man was at 226 and Tyson at 281. How much weight do we have to subtract? How much of a freaking disparity was that for Alexander Usyk, who did just fine versus the bigger fighter? But you're rejecting any effort. I mean, you're rejecting any possibility that Crawford can go in there, who obviously fought Madrimov in the 160s, obviously, and he won the fight. Now, I hear a lot of people just sticking to the same repetitive, remediated responses that they hear across, these media segues. And what is that? He didn't look good against Madrimov. Look, why Crawford? Why should he have looked a certain way? He didn't do anything at 147, right? I mean, if Mikey's up here saying Crawford is a better skilled fighter, then when he was at 147, why didn't the boxing public praise Crawford a bit more than they did for everything that he was accomplishing, all the fighters that he was stopping? Why they didn't praise him more? Why say, oh, I'm going to give you a default highlight of what you did at 47 just to criticize you for what you didn't do at 54, if you feel what I'm saying? They was up here saying he was doing so well and being a knockout. He was on a stopping spree at 47, but they gave him very average praise for that because of the what? Quality of opposition there, right? But when he removed himself after being a pound for pound fighter, with all the criticism of that fight, him not being 100% weight drain and all that, he moves to 54, and y'all try to throw that blanket on him and say, you didn't stop Madrimov. How dare you? And Crawford could be like, was I supposed to stop him? Because it was some people playing both sides of the fence. They was up here cheering heavily for the amateur pedigree of Madrimov with just 10 professional fights, that he had a chance to go in there and beat Crawford, the smaller fighter. You've heard me say this before. The man was 10-0, and they still gave Madrimov a chance to go in there and beat Crawford. Why? Because Crawford was moving up. This is the same preface or a way they're trying to validate the Canelo Alvarez move. They're saying he's moving up versus a much tougher fighter, and he ain't really gotten any bigger. And that showed when he fought Madrimov. That's what they're trying to say. Madrimov was being hyped up. People that dislike Crawford were saying, oh man, Madrimov, he's so decorated, amateur. But he didn't look. What was his responsibility? Let me ask y'all that. What was Madrimov's responsibility? What's going to be Canelo's responsibility? Okay, forget what Crawford's doing. Crawford's telling the world he's looking to be greater, right? So what is Canelo's responsibility, and what is Madrimov's responsibility if you have a lighter size fighter that's coming up in weight? Now let's get back to Mikey. I ain't done with him. From 40 to 47 and now 154. That's even great for him. If he wants to do something, collect the belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to Canelo fight. Canelo is trying to fight other guys, said Garcia. Okay, this is where State of Delirium needs some freaking psychological therapy for Mikey. Mikey is saying that Crawford, who has called out the opposition at 154, he should collect the belts. But there's no money there at 154 for Crawford, who is at the top. He's been at the championship pinnacle for so long, people forget, to appreciate the value, the appraising value that all his achievements encompasses. He's been there for so long. I mean, I showed you the thumbnail, him and Canelo being up there since 2017. I told you that. That's been out there. That's nothing. That's no secret. But Mikey Garcia said Canelo is trying to fight other guys. Well, guess what? There's no money in the other guys. It's nobody Canelo can fight right now at 168 that's going to give him Crawford money. Check it. Hold up. David Benavidez is out of the equation. Please don't bring him up. Canelo is asking for not even the lion's share. Canelo is asking for a portion of the kingdom. He wants a portion of the kingdom, y'all. That's how much he's trying. He's asking for two city states, two states. He's asking for landscape, countless amount of landscape. He's asking for a paycheck that he's never seen in his entire professional career, yo. Look, Canelo is asking for a paycheck that he's never seen from anybody that he's known to compete in the sport around him. He haven't seen a check like that. So Mikey Garcia, there has to be value in what Crawford brings to the table. Because if Canelo wants to fight other guys, that's what he's been doing, Mikey. He's been fighting other guys. But those other guys is not going to earn him the check that he's going to get from Terrence Crawford. So then I ask you, isn't the same thing for Crawford fighting Sebastian Fundora and Sergey Boychuk at 154? Is Crawford going to earn the type of money that he would by fighting Canelo if he was to contend at 154? No. The answer is no. The answer, a lot of y'all that's hating on this man, this answer is no. And no, he's not going to make the money that he will make. It goes bilaterally. You know what I'm saying? This is a two-way streak, as they used to call that so many times. This is a two-way streak. On the Crawford side, he's not going to make the money fighting the opposition at 154 than he would with Canelo. For Canelo, he's not going to make the money he would make fighting Crawford at 168. I'm talking about whoever's there for him to fight. And Billy, he's not going to make the Crawford money fighting him Billy because they don't know him Billy like that. He's already fought the Caleb Plants. I mean, hell. You have people going on the freaking the ranking systems and pulling names up there. And then when you say, well, he's not going to make the same amount of money he'd fight Crawford fighting that guy. It doesn't matter. He's in his weight class. I'm like, for real? But let's start to rip Mikey's little story apart, right? It says right here, at that point, it's more of a big fight for money it's going to generate, said Mikey, about the Canelo versus Crawford clash. But as a fight fan, I'm not a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight Beterbiev or Bivol again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again and challenge those guys, not a smaller guy moving up. So it's okay for Canelo to move up to a division to fight bigger guys. Understand how delirious this sounds, acutely delirious. It's okay for Mikey Garcia to suggest for Canelo Alvarez to move up to 175 and fight Bivol again, a much bigger fighter. We're talking about Canelo, who came in the sport and one time fought at 140. 140, y'all. But it's okay to accept what you see in front of you. For Mikey Garcia to say Canelo should move up and fight Bivol again, somebody who he lost to. Someone who clearly outboxed Canelo and beat him in the decision. But it's okay for a four-weight champion, Mikey Garcia, to forget something that he was a part of. This was you, Mikey Garcia. You remember that, right, Mikey? Come on, Big Mikey. You remember when you fought Robert Easter Jr.? Let me show the people what Mikey Garcia looked like when he fought Robert Easter Jr. Let's go back to that day where we look at shriveled up Mikey Garcia. Take a look at that. Do you see any muscles on that potato sack chest of Mikey Garcia? This is a fight in 135. Mikey looks shriveled all to be damned, even though he did what he's supposed to do against Bunny. Look at that. Flat chested. You see a little indentations there where abdominals may be and all that. But this dude, this is the guy, yo. Check this out. This is the guy who is saying that Crawford should fight at 154 and he don't like to fight with Canelo because it's too big. But he, Mikey Garcia, the shriveled one that you're looking up to the left-hand side, he selected to go in there and fight Errol Spence Jr. He fought Robert Easter Jr. at 135. You see it. July 2018. Right? And then went in there, moving up 2 weight divisions. Moving up 2 weight divisions. You see 135. Don't tell me that he fought Sergey Lipinets. I don't care about it. He went from 35 all the way up to 47 to fight Errol Spence Jr. Yes, the shriveled up Mikey Garcia went all the way up to 47 to fight Spence. March of 2019. Now, another fine detail that you need to see is that he went the distance. A 135 pounder went the distance with Errol Spence Jr. A fighter who had been campaigning at super welterweight and welterweight since he joined the ranks of as a professional, him being Errol Spence. But we're talking about a Mikey Garcia who came in at 126, y'all. What am I missing with these people? Is it the point that they may wear, they might be nearsighted and they don't have the correct prescription in their optics? Seriously, because for some time we've had resources to improve your vision, whether it be framed optics or contact lens. But somehow, some way, your nearsighted vision is a little bit fuzzy. I don't know if you need to read with a magnifying glass, but Mikey, you moved up from 35 to 47 against a fighter who balloons up to 185 and 190. Much bigger fighter than you. What was up with that? What was up with that, Mikey? Are you forgetting? Now check this out too. We must highlight this about Errol Spence, y'all. Okay? You want to know another fun fact about Errol Spence before he stepped in there with Mikey Garcia? Errol Spence, we can go back all the way to No Bolanos back in September 2014 and take the elevator up. No Bolanos 24 and 10 and 1 at the time. Errol Spence fought him at welterweight, September 2014, RTD. Then a TKO, his next fight, TKO, okay? Leonard Bundu, KO, RTD, KO, okay? Carlos Ocampo was the last KO prior to Errol Spence stepping in there with Mikey Garcia. The reason why I gave you the rundown of those stoppages was that Mikey Garcia moved up from 35 to 47 and went the distance with Errol Spence Jr. But yet the criticism of Terrence Crawford moving up from 47 to 54, being that he had knocked out, stopped all of those opponents at 47 to include Jeff Horn all the way to Errol Spence Jr. He was criticized for going the distance with Madrimov when Errol Spence Jr. went the distance with Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia, though he's acutely delusional, maybe it's the fuzzy hair that he has on his head, the big nose, and all those that oversized shoes that he have on, dancing around here saying goofy stuff. But Mikey Garcia, yourself, you was a lighter fighter, the same as they say about Crawford, and you moved up and fought who they consider the boogeyman of the welterweight division. You fought him. You fought him. So you had to have some confidence, Mikey. Mikey ain't never been a punk, right? I mean, you had to have some confidence. This was a guy who was unified at 135. Mikey had to have some confidence when he moved up and did that. Real talk. I mean, Mikey, if you look at his last, 3 fights before stepping in there with Errol Spence, they was all decisions. So for you, Mikey, you stayed consistent. You wasn't never known as a knockout artist, but you went the distance, moving up 2 divisions from a guy who was considered just that. Errol Spence was considered a hard-hitting guy who can break you down, having power, in your face. They call him the Blaxican. And you know what I'm saying? They call him the Truth, Strap Season, Big Fish. The Truth? Mikey, they had him anointed the Truth. And you came up from 135 shriveled up, and you went the distance with the Truth. Now that's the truth, Mikey. And you don't like the fight? Wasn't that one of your highest paydays, Mikey? Moving up there, who else on your resume got you the type of money that you got facing Spence? Was it Jesse Vargas? Doubt it. Was it Sandor Martin? Doubt it. I mean, who got you the money? So if you really can't provide us the receipts, somehow, some way, man, we feel like you hating. It feel like you really ain't trying to give Crawford his credit. You know what I'm saying? Stay at 154, y'all. That's what the next is right here. Let me take this down. It says stay at 154. It says the same thing with Crawford. He doesn't need to move up to fight Canelo. He can just fight guys at 154, said Mikey. Crawford would probably only be interested in fighting WBC and WBO junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora for his belts at 154, because it's a fight where he wouldn't have to worry as much about getting knocked out. If Crawford were to challenge IBF champion Bakram Murtazalayev or WBC interim champion Virgil Ortiz, he could get stopped. Now, we know Boxing News 24 is always on some freaking crackish, recreational, psychedelics, vein popping type of bullshit sometime, based off what they say. Those guys are younger and more powerful than him. They would be looking to add the soon-to-be 38-year-old Crawford scalp to their collection. That would be a fine trophy. Crawford's, look what he just said, how stupid this sounds. If you're saying that a fighter is a certain way and you pretty much put it out there, you line up his deficiencies. You're very detailed and scripted on Crawford's deficiencies, right? Well, why would it be a fine trophy to have? Like let's be honest. Like, I'm not gathering how there's a overlap. There's a gap where there's a part of your brain that was undeveloped. One that dealt with processing information accordingly. The part where troubleshooting is involved. Very technically. And you got to be very technical to troubleshoot certain things. How can a man in a sentence be considered to say you shouldn't move up and fight Canelo because he's bigger than you, and the only reason you want to do it is for a payday? But then again, once more, Canelo Alvarez is what? He's asking for the most money he ever made in his career fighting a single opponent. But this guy says 38-year-old Crawford, who is not 38, it's easy for them to do that. He doesn't turn 38 to September, but it's easy to put that number out there to make it sound good. And Crawford scalp to their collection. That would be a fine trophy. So how can it be a trophy of any sort if the value of who Crawford is as a fighter is marginal? Mediocre appraisal. Nothing special about it. I think with black fighters, a lot of time, these people don't want to provide them the ultimate praise unless somebody else is benefiting from it. When it comes to just praising that particular fighter, they refuse to step all the way in and commit. They would give partial praise because they're trying to see. Let me sit back and watch. Let me sit back and watch. Let me sit back and watch. And then if they do something like move up a division again and fight for a championship, the lead up to the fight, they're basically highlighting the fighter they have no familiarity with at all. But they will build up this whole care package for Madrimov on his amateur career. And the man's only had 10 professional wins in his career. Crawford's sitting at 40. He's sitting at 40 freaking wins and multiple accolades. But yet the criticism precipitates heavy on the head of Crawford. Lucky for him, the crown that he wears can stop most of what he's supposed to be feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because heavy is the head who wear the crown. And a lot of that crown that he wears can propel the criticism that they always trying to rain down on Crawford's name based off not giving him total praise in his accolades, but allowing praise to come when they're highlighting somebody else that they believe has the possibility of beating him. That seems a bit weird. And then to caveat once again, to highlight another part of Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia also mentioned that Crawford's age. Oh, these younger guys. Well, guess what? Mikey Garcia stepped in there with an Errol Spence Jr., who's 3 years older than him. Let that simmer in your heart. Let that simmer a little bit. Mikey Garcia is saying that the younger guy, Canelo is younger. Crawford is older. But when he stepped in there with Spence, he was 3 years younger than Spence. Why didn't youth play a factor for Mikey Garcia, though? You had all that experience. Why didn't youth play a factor for you, Mikey? You was 3 years younger than Spence the time you stepped in there and fought him. Why wasn't youth a factor for you to take full advantage of who the older guy was in Spence and go in there and beat him? How many fights did Mikey Garcia have after he fought Errol Spence Jr., y'all? You want to know? How many fights he took at welterweight? 2. And you know, out of those 3, who did he make the most money with? Errol Spence Jr. Why is that? Mikey was always looking for the payday from the time he left the sport, fighting those legalities, you know what I'm saying, being in the court for top rank, and the time he was out of the sport. Yeah, he wanted to get that time back, y'all. Y'all didn't know that? For him to come up here and talk some stuff about, Terrence Crawford, that's exactly why he took the fight with Errol Spence Jr. He wanted to earn back all that money he spent on legal fees. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to get back some of that moolah, that dinero, when he was out there fighting that court case to get out of his contract with Top Rank. Oh, yeah. Back in 2014, the man, look, he was out from 2014 and came back damn near over 2 years, y'all. He was out January 2014 and came back July 2016. You think Mikey wasn't trying to make some money? He had the Adrian Broner fight. He had a championship fight with Sergey Lipinets at 140. Dropped back down for a championship fight with Easter. And then he had Errol Spence and 2 more fights, and he's pretty much retired at this point. His last fight was October 2021. So the reason why I was highlighting Mikey Garcia's um inaccuracies, because he himself has had a similar moment in his career where he moved up 2 division and he was considered the lighter fighter. He's considered moving up, getting that big fat paycheck from Errol Spence Jr. on the back end of his career. So how can he feel some type of way about Crawford moving up to fight Canelo Alvarez? There's no way in hell that that's fair, there, Mikey Garcia. That shit ain't fair. I mean, it's a lot of unfairness that I consider to be going on based off the Canelo Crawford situation in general. But when you hear a fighter like Mikey Garcia who made a similar move, not one fight at 147 prior to moving up there and facing Errol Spence, y'all. Did you hear what I just said? Mikey Garcia did not have a single fight at 147, but he was able to go up there and fight the man, Errol Spence Jr. For his highest payday. He was able to move up there and fight Errol Spence Jr. in his first fight. So Crawford moving up and fighting Canelo Alvarez, and all I hear is people pushing and pushing and pushing. Numbers are numbers, ain't it? Oh, I know what they're gonna say. Man, just do the math there. WCS, just do the math. For real, just do the math. It ain't the same. I'm like, well, explain to me. Well, you know, you got to look at it like this. From 135 to 40 is 5 pounds. And then from 40 to 47 is another 7 pounds. So that's only 12 pounds. That's what they're saying, y'all. That's only 12 pounds. So you go from 147 all the way up to 68. That's 21 pounds. I don't want to confuse you, because for Mikey Garcia moving up to face Errol Spence Jr. was just 12. You switch those around and put the one behind the two. That's a huge difference. You know what I'm saying, that WCS? If you subtract 12 from 21, that's a total of 9 pounds that separates you speaking about Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. You really don't know what you talking about. I don't have to say, are you serious? That's what it is. That's what it is from 154 to 168. Oh, my bad. I was hating. My bad. I was just hating. I was trying to dip into some shit and say some falsicities that I'm used to. No. It's 14 pounds, because that's what we heard so many people talk about right now. They talk about 14 pounds. 14 pounds. Oh, my bad. I keep on thinking Crawford still at 147 because he pretty much white gloved the community. I get it. I was just being a hater, man. I was just being a hater. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for adding 47 in there. But like I said, 14 pounds is still a lot. So what you're trying to say is Mikey Garcia, if it's somewhat like a 12 pound, 2 more pounds. You trying to, what are we saying? 2 more pounds is what again? How's that significantly a difference? I mean, both of them are moving up 2 divisions. We know when it gets to 147, from 40 to 47, the pounds in between divisions change a bit, right? But yet for Mikey Garcia, coming from a lighter division and crossing over that threshold into the 147 pound division, then we're talking different. pounds and numbers do matter. But you still got people putting Crawford from 147 to 68. For the life of me, I don't know why they cannot let it go. The man is a champion. In 154, he is officially there. But yet you hear most of the articles that's out, they say, oh, he's still 147 pound, man. That's 21 pounds different. Bro, he's at 154. He ain't been that long, though. And you saw how he looked against Madrid. It's the same freaking chorus. You saying to yourself, no, this can't be true, man. DKSAB, bro. No, you can't say that about me. I've been in the sport. It has to be, man. Because if y'all not talking about 47, y'all talking about 14. It's 14 pounds different, man. 14 pounds different. If Mikey had to move up 12 pounds, man, 12 pounds, go from 35 to 47. What am I missing, people? Mikey had to move up 12 pounds per the divisional weight limit. And nobody uttered a word. They was up there like happy for Errol Spence to fight full weight world champion. For a long time, Mikey Garcia was the best resume and opposition on Errol Spence's record prior to Terrence Crawford. Mikey Garcia, a 135-pound lightweight champion, was the best fighter on Errol Spence's resume for a while. Until Crawford fought him July 29, 2023. Historically, forever etched in the boxing annals as the T-Mobile Massacre. Mikey Garcia moves up 12 pounds and Crawford 14. Crawford is consistently vilified for something that Mikey Garcia was praised. I mean, I'm talking about praised, cheered. To my what heart Mikey is showing. Oh my God, who would have thought? Hey, they fed it to you, right? Who would have thought? Hey, who would have thought? Who would have thought what? Did you see it? Mikey, a lightweight going into the 8th round against Errol Spence Jr. Who would have thought? Well, what about Crawford? Oh my God, let's not bring up that. Anybody who was thinking about that, they don't know shit about boxing. Oh, my God. He's 14 pounds. But Mikey Garcia moved up 12. We're not talking about Mikey. And that was back then. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence way less then. No, Errol Spence was known to, balloon up between fights, 170s, 80s, all that. He said it himself. But that's long gone. Let it be in the past, man. You know, Mikey Garcia was a 4-weight world champion. He was qualified to go in there and fight somebody with the pedigree of Errol Spence Jr., Olympian. He was qualified. They say Mikey Garcia was qualified with 4 weight divisions, yo. But for Crawford, even though he may be qualified, those 2 pounds, God damn it, those 2 pounds, depending on who you're listening to. If you're listening to somebody talking about 47, hey, man, it's 21 pound difference, man. 21 pounds. Bro, he's a champion at 54. Okay, that's 14 pounds. Okay. You got me. You got me there. I was just trying to be slick about it. Okay, 14 pounds. So 14 pounds, and he fighting the 160s against Madrimov. He did. I'm pretty sure he rehydrated. He was fighting the 160s. What are all these people talking about just because he looked a certain way with Madrimov? A totally different style fighter. Why is that going to somehow carry over to Canelo? How did Edgar Berlanga looked when he fought and was dropped? Was the fighter who dropped Edgar Berlanga better than Canelo Alvarez? Many of us would say no, right? So therefore, when he stepped in there with Canelo Alvarez, shouldn't Canelo Alvarez should have dog walked Berlanga, being that he was already on the canvas from a lesser known, lower tier fighter? Should he? Canelo should have walked through Berlanga. But he got dropped one time and then went to the bell. How? He was the killer. Was it the skill set? Because Mikey said he believes that Crawford is a better all-around skilled fighter. But wait, somehow, some way, man, when it comes to the thought process, I don't know if it's the COVID vaccines. I don't know if it's the flu shots. I don't know if it has something to do with eating grass-fed food, simple truth, organic items. I don't know what's going on, bro. I don't know if it's some type of parasitic amoeba that's floating around in these guys' brain. But when Crawford leave, I'm trying to ask myself, will that bring back the integrity of some of these cats that so-called watch boxing? I'm serious. It's a real genuine question. Because it's something that's going on, like y'all have seriously anointed this man. Y'all have almost made Crawford into this spiritual idol or something. Because when you look at it, you continue to tell him what he cannot do in the sport. And when he goes and do it, it's like, damn, he got it done again. It's almost like you keep on saying what he can't do, but he continue to tell you and show you that he's more than capable of doing it better than what you initially thought. You continue to bring this man up, but yet he's doing the exact same thing that Mikey Garcia did. I mean, Errol Spence was considered a dangerous fighter. And many thought he was just going to run the hell through Mikey Garcia. But Mikey Garcia made it the distance. So why are y'all saying that Terrence Crawford is going to get slapped against Canelo Alvarez when you can look at his last 5 opponents and the results say otherwise? Somebody explain that. Please. Somebody explain that. What's going on with Mikey Garcia? Do you think it's a little bit of he may have some, you know what I'm saying, some outages in the left and right hemisphere? Do you think there may be a lack of yellow green areas over there? Are those areas may be considered gray due to how long he was in the sport of boxing? I don't know. Should he do inverted crowd therapy hating on Crawford? Does he need some type of regenerative physical therapy up there? Because one thing about Mikey that I seen with my own eyes, y'all, was that he went in there 2 weight divisions up, yo, and his hair still looked the same way it did when he answered the bell at the beginning of the fight. Am I right? Mikey Garcia's hair still looked the same, dog. That motherfucker was slicked back. All he did when he left the ring, he didn't have a spot on his freaking face. He went back there, showered up, get suited up, and went right to dinner reservations. Nobody even knew that was Mikey Garcia. He didn't look like he had just left a fight with one of the so-called pound-for-pound boogeymans. Man, Mikey Garcia looked like he was just brand new with a lot more money in his account. With a lot more money in his account. Boxing is a business. Why are you all of a sudden acting like Crawford? You keep on making him into this spiritual, God. You continue to prove that he's somehow anointed because you keep talking about what he don't need, what he don't get, and everybody else is getting that. You're trying to treat him like he's a pariah, and he keeps showing you there's somebody higher than you that's looking over me. You keep hating, and I'm going to keep taking. You keep hating, I'm going to keep taking. I'm gonna keep taking names, and the next name that I'm selecting to take is Canelo Alvarez, the one that y'all say that I can't do anything with. Yeah, that's who I want next. Y'all keep on giving this man more and more power. Y'all keep on motivating him with the criticism to say he can't do this. Y'all forget about Mikey Garcia did the exact same thing, but yet you say 2 pounds make a difference. Y'all up here criticizing the shit out of Crawford for 14 pounds. But Mikey Garcia, it was 12-pound difference between 35 and 47. And I remember how they was on here talking about, oh man, Mikey Garcia, that's a good opponent for Spence. Oh my God, this is going to be the fight we've been looking for. Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence did 350 pay-per-view buys. Oh my God, it's what boxing needs. We need that fight. Oh man, they was just hyping it up. That's all you heard. You heard them suction cups going on. That's all you heard. Boy, they was puckered up. They was kissing so much ass. Every freaking debate you had on him over here with them Errol sections, they always talking about, oh man, Errol Spence did 350 with Mikey Garcia. Crawford ain't did none of that. But the one thing about time, it don't stop for nobody, and time has absolutely ticked to a whole nother part of the era where those same individuals was able to witness you know what they was able to witness. See, we just trying to keep you around for the next chapter. It may be close to the final chapter, but it is a chapter, right? We just trying to keep you next, close and snuggle with the fireplace on. You know what I'm saying? Feeding you some, you know what I'm saying? Fixing you a glass of tap water. We want you to stay hydrated for this final finale. The finale is going to be great. This is the fighter that supposedly he wasn't ready for, but y'all was out here bitching and crying, talking about Crawford don't deserve. And he's too small, 14 pounds. It's weight divisions for a reason. But you weren't saying that about Mikey. You wanted to sit behind Mikey and massage his shoulders and comb his hair. Hey, Mikey, do you want me to put any more spritz in there? Oh, your hair is laid up there real nice. Do you want me to put some highlights in there? Hey, Judy, come over here and put some highlights in Mikey's hair. Not too light, not too dark. Just in the middle, Judy. And we're going to get you right. This is the guy who fought Errol Spence and went the distance after moving up 2 weight divisions. See, they'll brag about Mikey Garcia's feet, but they're not even trying to give any indication that what Crawford's doing is considered greatness. They just look at it first and foremost. His weight divisions for a minute is 14 pounds. Oh my God. How's he going to put on that muscle? He just fought my dream off at 160s. Are you crazy? Are y'all blind? Are y'all fucking blind? He just fought my dream off in the 160s. Why y'all continue to ask the question, how's he going to put on the muscle? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I mean, y'all got to be happy it's no rehydration clause. Aren't y'all happy? Seriously. Look, if there's no rehydration clause, right? Who has to cut weight? If I was to ask this question to the public, I say, who has to cut weight? Do Canelo has to cut weight? Does Crawford have to cut weight? Both of them have to cut weight, right? So let's just say he fought 154 against a fighter who he looked like he struggled against. Do you believe that Crawford at this point in time is in the 150s? The answer would be NO, right? Okay, we're moving on. Do you believe at this point in time Crawford's in the 160s? Possible, right? Let's just say on the high side, 168. Do you think it's possible he might be in 170, in the low 170? It's possible. So therefore, let's just say, okay, let's just say that Crawford is 170 right now. And the fight's supposed to be September. Word has that he may potentially fight Sergey Derevyanchenko. So that means Crawford has to drop down to the mid-60s, right? Whatever that is. So he's going to be pretty much around the same weight he was at when he fought Madrimov on that night. Now that he has even less weight to lose, if he fights Sergey Derevyanchenko, he just has to drop, let's just say 70. He's at 170. How much weight he has to drop, bro? 4 pounds? 5 pounds? I don't get it, man. I don't get it why these cats are just stuck in, they stuck in a pile of goddamn Tyrannosaurus Rex doo-doo, man. Elephant dung. I mean, they just stuck. Like they don't want to move. The man fought Madrimov in the 160s, but I keep on hearing individuals who I believe to be boxing fanatics, they keep on talking about how is he going to put on 14 pounds? I was like, man, how many times have we talked about fighters rehydrating? Y'all are once again selective on fighters' rehydration. Y'all sit up here and talk, oh man, so-and-so had this way. Like, you know, they'll look at a fighter and then somehow the fighter's rehydration numbers will come out. And they'll say, oh man, I ain't know so-and-so weighed that much on fight night. Yes, they did. And what's next? Let me stroll over here to the chat, man, because this shit is never going to end. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. They know weight. They know what fight we consist of. Weigh-ins. They know it. They know fight cards consist of weigh-ins. They understand there are certain sanctioning bodies that have rehydration stipulations. But you have just heard that there's no rehydration clause in this. So immediately, those individuals that are non-Crawford supporters is going to come on here and continue to say that Canelo is going to be huge. Oh my God, he's going to be huge. It's going to be looking like Dimitri Bivol when he fought Gilberto Ramirez. Canelo's going to be around the way he fought light heavyweight. Huge. So if that's the case, it should be no excuses, man. It should be no excuses. If there's no rehydration clause, because Canelo can't use that shit with Crawford. You know, I was lightly making a comedic joke about that Canelo, one of his rehydration clauses for Crawford, fighting 168, that Crawford couldn't, you know, come in no higher than 160. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was, you know, joking about with Canelo. He was going to put some type of stipulation in there. I know we fighting 168, but you can't come in no higher than 160 on fight night. That's my stipulation sheet. Take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? No rehydration clause. The Canelo fans are definitely ecstatic. Oh my God, ecstatic. Whoo, they're elated, y'all. You know how many words I can use to represent how cheerful they are? That there's no rehydration clause and Canelo's going to come in there bigger than Crawford. I mean, they're setting the table, right? Right? Before, they was up there putting their palms up. Stop. No, you're in the wrong run. No, we want to set up the Canelo and Crawford table. No, I'm telling you, I have not received any word. That fight is not happening, and the table does not supposed to be set up in here. You haven't received the recent news. I would suggest you get in contact with your boss. We supposed to set this table up with Crawford and Canelo in here. So if you please move out my way before I have my people coming here and damn allow you to go through some stretching methods by force. Let me get on the phone with my boss first, because I didn't hear that. And I don't know why they'd be setting up a table for that. Hey, boss, are we supposed to be setting the table for Crawford Canelo? Has it been approved yet? Oh, yeah, set that up, man. Yeah, make sure you put all the fine linen on this table. And it's going to be a hell of a dine-in the next 8 months. Okay, shit. So they're not going to get the plasticware? No, we're going to give them all the fine utensils and everything. We're going to set it up. It's going to be real beautiful. This is the biggest fight in boxing. So you don't want to put the picnic table up there? You heard what I said, right? Stop being in your feelings. Set it up. The best of everything. I'm telling you, man, these haters, they're going to end up getting sick. Let me go here to the chat right quick. Tobe. Salute to WCS and the hottest chat in the YTC. We're global, baby. We're global. No doubt, man. Shout out to Mr. International Toby Bartlett on deck. The Queen Jessica is in the building. Salute to you. I'll see you on deck. Let me stroll up a little bit. All these people down Bud, so when he wins, they should consider him the GOAT, right? Hey, man. You better get ready. You know what I'm saying? No, look, no rehydration clause. It's his division, right? He should be undisputed. He fights Skull. This is for the undisputed. I mean, everything about this fight screams epic, mega. You know what I'm saying? Everything about this fight. This is a mega. Everything about this fight, super. This is a super fight. People just don't want to use those type of terms because Crawford is involved in that. Canelo has earned the spot, but what he's been doing his last several fights, Crawford surpasses all of them. He's did more. Just think about it. Gennady Golovkin, he grabbed him off the porch. You know what I'm saying? They had to literally stop Gennady from shaking. You know, his body was going through arthritic changes. And the man barely passed physicals to go there and fight. He was just chilling on the rocking chair on the porch. But even that was his first fight at 168. Why wasn't all the criticism for Gennady? Because they fought at 160? Mike and Canelo fans want him to fight anyone except for Benavidez. Yeah, man. When it comes to certain fights, Benavidez, Crawford, especially Benavidez, he says something like 200 million, right? You know, it's always a payday when Crawford name is mentioned. But when it's come to Canelo, they act like they absolutely illiterate, was in a special ed class, holding hands, going to the bathroom, going back in there, taking math tests that only had 3 equations on it. 1 + 0 equals. You know, I'm like, why are you all just ignoring numbers? Canelo is the one that's requesting the high dollar bill. And his fans, what they say? Oh, he's earned it. I'm like, him and Crawford have been on the pound for pound list the longest. Crawford been on there the longest, in my opinion. What's going on, Colin? Salute to you, I see you on deck. Well, Easter, I talked to him when I was in Toledo at the Jared Anderson fight. You know he had been shot, right? They robbed him. So he was pretty much going through the recovery period and whatever. He's still young enough to get back in the ring, but yeah, he was robbed, and they shot him. So he had to recover from that. Shout out to my guy Haynes Legacy in the building. Salute to you, man. May all is well your way, as always. Salute to you. Appreciate you pulling up. How is it a trophy if he only be the injured Errol Spence? Just like Wilder, a bomb until Fury beats him, then Fury get praised to the heavens for defeating him. You know how that goes, man. And that's what that's what I was trying to reemphasize to the audience. Y'all are trying to replay the same type of results. Y'all never wanted to give Wilder credit, but Crawford, they never wanted to give him credit for what he was doing at 147. How great he was going in there clean out. That's not easy to go on a stopping spree that bleeds over from 40 to 47. That's not easy. But to say, now I want to use it, not in a way to give him credit in its totality. No, I want to partially give you credit for what you accomplished at 47, but yet I want to deduct from that because, yes, you stopped all your opponents at 47, but you didn't do it at 54. I mean, I'm saying to myself, I thought it didn't matter, though. I thought it was just his opposition. And then, hey, I want to ask this question. Do you believe Madrimov can beat everybody on Crawford's 47 resume? Then they're going to say, of course. All right, then. If you believe in that, if you believe that narrative, that Madrimov 10-0 can beat everybody on Crawford's 147-pound resume, then you have to ask yourself this. Why wouldn't you give Crawford full credit for doing the exact same thing that you say Madrimov can do? If you say Madrimov can beat everybody on Crawford's resume at 47, and Crawford did just that, then he's still consistent by moving up to 154 and beating Madrimov. But they keep on talking about how he looked bad. Like, man, he didn't even hit the canvas, man. Virgil Ortiz, as you heard in that Boxing News 24, Virgil Ortiz was dropped twice by Sergey Boychuk. But they saying that Crawford, if he selected to stay at 154 and route the opposition there, that he may potentially get stopped. Now, what's crazy is that I've been on record and I say, hey, I like Virgil Ortiz. I like how he is a fighter. He got dog in him and all that. This dude gets dropped several times fighting Boychuk, and now he's about to fight Madrimov, and they're still hyping him up like he never got dropped. But whenever you hear Crawford's name, they always bring up Green Machine and Gamboa. But we're talking about right here, right now. If Crawford was to get dropped at 47, legitimate called a knockdown, what would be the conversation? Virgil Ortiz, these non-black fighters, in my opinion, get the pass too many times. They get touted and praised for being tough, for going to the fighter. Going through the fire. Terrence Crawford, he gets dropped. Oh, his knees, he's too old. He don't have his legs under him no more. Oh, man, he's 38. No, he ain't 38. He's 48 years old. He turned 49 September this year. So Terrence will be 49 years old when he faced Canelo. Well, how do Canelo get credit for fighting a 49-year-old Crawford? Hey, Crawford asked for it. Canelo's the best. So you're saying he should get paid $100 million for fighting a 49-year-old Crawford? Hey, man, that's Turkey al-Sheikh. Turkey al-Sheikh, and you're not answering my question. Should he get credit for fighting such an old fighter, though? Man, hey, Crawford asked for it, man. Crawford asked for it, dog. Don't blame him. He asked for it. He's daring to be great. Legacy. This shit never stopped, bro. This shit never stopped. They want to give partial credit for Crawford. But yet, you have some dummies out here that'll say Madrimov will beat everybody on Crawford's resume. Just based off his amateur experience. But yet, Crawford goes up here and beat him, and the fight is terrible. They say the fight is absolutely deplorable. Oh, no way, man. He looked bad. Oh, time for him to leave the sport. But Madrimov looked the worse for wear. His face wore the fight, somewhat similar to what we seen at the T-Mobile Massacre. Errol Spence, he had on a whole different facial mask when Crawford was done with him. I'm telling you, man, for all you Canelo fans out there, all you doing is just adding gasoline. You know what I'm saying? You adding all those freaking accelerants to the fire by continuing to say what Crawford don't do, man. He feeds off that shit. This ain't no Caleb Plant. This ain't Andre Durrell, bro. This ain't goddamn Daniel Jacobs. This, hey, y'all in the chat. This ain't no James Kirkland, homie. What the hell these niggas thinking? They ain't about to step in there with James Kirkland, man. What? That's what they think it is? They about to step in there with James Kirkland? I mean, goddamn. Arnold Brown, what's good, man? I see you. But gonna stop Canelo, his legacy. Bud and his team been looking to fight Canelo for a while now. But Canelo ain't been looking to fight Bud until recently. Game plans could make all the difference. I'm backing Team Bud 100%. Yeah, man, good point, man. Canelo was, and a lot of other people I hear are, the little small followers, or what they call the parishioners that's falling behind their God, your king, their Lord, their Savior, Canelo Alvarez, and everything he says they love. You know what I'm saying? Canelo, he talks about money, payday, payday, payday. But you're the one asking for the highest purse that you've made. Why do you all continue to say Crawford is looking for retirement when he's not asking 150 mil to fight Canelo? Look, if Crawford has a rapport with Turki Al-Sheikh before Canelo came on the scene, you know what I'm saying? We seen Canelo over there in the Ring magazine, so obviously the Turkey took care of him and flew him out and said, we need to talk some business. So if Crawford knew Turki Al-Sheikh before Canelo, was there any breaking news that he was asking for 100 million? That Crawford was asking for 150? Because they keep on saying that he's looking for a payday. But they will leave out the fact that Canelo is the one asking for the high dollars. And depending on who you hear, they'll say, well, he's deserving. No, we're talking about what he said, though. He said payday, payday, payday. We all know he's looking for a payday. No, you're looking for a payday. Canelo's looking for a payday off the back of Crawford, a fighter who he say, I don't get nothing. I get nothing by beating Crawford. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Crawford got legacy to his name, and you know it. Amir Khan said Canelo came in around 185 for their 160-pound fight. But even Amir Khan had his moments. Yeah. Amir Khan hands was fast, but let's not, hey Toby, let's stay far away from Amir Khan, man, because you know how when they can latch on to something like a leech and suck the remaining goddamn blood out of it. I can't remember how many times that they say Crawford fought a broken Amir Khan, and I say, he did? Yeah, man. I say, but Canelo did too. DSG and Prescott had already slept Amir. Crawford didn't knock him out cold. He would have. But he made Amir Khan quit. But when it comes to those fight fans, they act like, oh, man. Amir Khan, he was already broken up. He was washed. Why did Crawford even fight him? You know how that goes, man. Holding hands, going to the bathroom. For real, man. They go to lunch holding hands. They sit at the table close to the stage, all the way in the back. Oh my God, man. They go on the numbers. You have 5 minutes left, 5 minutes left. You have 3 minutes left, 3 minutes left. Work on our numbers. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Since we're at 1, what we do at 1, we stand up, right? Okay, everyone stand up. Yes, gather all your trash. Grab your tray with both hands. Collins Arrow beat the brakes off Danny Garcia and Ugas. They never mentioned that. It's up to us to remind them that they didn't mention it. Just like they failed to mention that Mikey Garcia did the exact same thing, but yet they want to say he was at 140. No, clearly, what I showed you up here, that Mikey Garcia pretty much went from 35 up to 47 when he fought Errol Spence Jr. Didn't have nothing to do with him being at 140. He went from 135 to 147. Absolutely. Mikey Garcia weighed 145 and a half to Errol Spence 146. No telling what Errol Spence was rehydrated up to. You know, but Mikey Garcia did the very same thing that he's trying to say that Crawford's just doing it for a retirement check. Why the hate, Mikey? I mean, you fought the man, so to speak, at the time, right? I mean, why you being shady with Crawford on this matter? I don't know what that's about. Hold on for a second, y'all. Yeah, y'all might have an answer better than I do. I don't know why Mikey Garcia, a future Hall of Famer, because that's not resonating across the gym. You know what I'm saying? I heard Robert Garcia say some positive things about Crawford. You know? Yes, I heard Robert Garcia say some positive compliments about Crawford. Seriously. But to be honest, you know who really be up in that Garcia gym hating that, might have rubbed off on Garcia while he was up at happy hour or something. And that's ES News. A legitimate bona fide Crawford hater. The one that Crawford said he was over there looking retarded after he beat Spence. That might have rubbed off on Mikey a time or two when he was just strolling through, getting out of one of his Ferraris. Seriously, because we know ES News be hating on Crawford all the time over there at the Garcia gym. But only had one fight at 154, and that was against Champion with a 300-plus fight top amateur. Crazy. These guys are crazy. Hey, man, that amateur career did it all heading into that fight. Once again, they were speaking more about Madrimov's amateur career more than Crawford and what he's accomplished over here professionally. You know what I'm saying? The amount of championship fights that he's had in a row. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about prestigious accomplishments that he's been out there. That's more important to hear. Like, you're talking about highlighting amateur career because Madrimov is 10 professional fights in, but you're standing across from a person who has 40 professional wins, and the first male fighter in the four-belt era to be two-time undisputed, and the ESPY awards, and the amount of awards he's received, the amount of championships, multiple times he's been champion, the divisions. You know what I'm saying? You in the presence of greatness, and all they talking about is Madrimov's freaking amateur pedigree. They're biased for sure, man. If that ain't prejudice, I don't know what is, bro. And it's not just from non-blacks. It's from blacks also. Eminem is a winner, and only backs winners. Only Bud could get Eminem to walk him out of the T-Mobile Massacre and give him a mini concert for his next fight. Bud get things done. Yeah, man, they tripping, ain't they, Toby? Don't drop those gems like that too much, man. Because they might try to say, instead of you donating back to the culture, you might trying to, you know what I'm saying, have somebody twist their ankle walking on them gems. You know what I'm saying? You might have them twist their ankle or something. They might try to get you for sabotage. You left them gems out there, and Spence, tripped his ankle up. That's why he can't make it to the Sebastian Fundora fight. But I will caveat to this, and this is all I'm going to say on it. Charlo pulled out of a fight. Okay? Jamal Charlo was set to return back to the ring. And that has since been canceled. He was going to fight on the Tank undercard. Did you hear what I just said? Charlo, the former 160-pound WBC champion, was set to return to the ring, man. And he, who's a PBC fighter too, word has been reported that he will not be able to make the fight. That is another PBC fighter, Errol Spence and Jamal Charlo, in recent. Why? What is going on over there? Why isn't Jamal Charlo able? Why aren't these guys who call themselves advocates for that, why aren't they able to find out what's going on over there, man? Why are they dropping out? Why is Jamal Charlo? You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to fight Thomas Cornflake Lamana as a return fight. He fought Jose Benavidez, looked okay, went the distance, and then, he's supposed to fight Cornflake. And he said he was in training camp. He got the call and say the fight is off. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if y'all heard, Diego Pacheco said Terrence Crawford can't fight for Steven Nelson. And he's right. He's right. Steven Nelson has to fight for Steven Nelson. But when you're in the company, depending on how deep of what Steven Nelson has archived while being in the presence of a Bomac and Crawford, Red Spike, Esau, all them guys over there. He had to learn something. He just needs his body and his mind to work mechanically at the highest level that it's ever worked to go in there and defeat Pacheco. Because Pacheco is very talented. You know what I'm saying? Baby, y'all hold it down. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up as always. Definitely going to do it again. Until then, I'm out.